Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Hebert. Today we are going to be doing a directed draw of a Greek building. As you have read, the ancient Greeks were creators and thinkers, and one of the things they are very famous for is their architecture. Architecture is the designing and constructing of buildings, and they would design and build temples that they believed were homes for their gods and goddesses. And so for this project, this is kind of what it's going to look like when you finish. Yours will look similar to this, though not exact. And you will need a ruler and a pencil with a good eraser. Okay, if you don't have a ruler, something with a straight edge. Okay, so the first step, I've pre-drawn things because it's hard for me to draw with the stylus to make my lines neat. But I'll talk you through it. So the first step is the stylobate, and it's really kind of the foundation for the Greek temple. And the temple we're doing is in the style of the Parthenon. It's not the Parthenon, but it's in the style of the Parthenon. So at the bottom with your ruler, you're going to use and your paper should be turned in the landscape position. You want the wide position. And so at the bottom, you're going to create with your ruler, use a ruler, you're going to create this bottom rectangle. And it's going to go, just leave a little bit of room on each side for that. And then above that, you're going to come in a little bit like a step, and you're going to do the second level. And you can see why I'm not using the stylus to draw it. Okay, so that's the first step. Okay, for steps 2 and 3, we're going to draw the architrave and the capital. And if you'll notice, they're kind of floating in the middle of the paper. And there's a reason for that because we're going to fill that in with the columns later. But I wanted to make sure that you leave enough room at the top for your pediment or your roof. And a lot of times, if we start from the bottom and go up, a lot of people run out of room at the top. So instead, we're going to do the architrave and the capital. And so with the architrave, what you're going to do is go up just a little bit more than halfway. And if you can see, on my paper, here's the top, here's the bottom, and I'm kind of going just a little bit higher than halfway. And you're going to draw a rectangle by drawing 2 straight lines, and then horizontal lines, and then 2 vertical lines. And that is going to be the architrave. And down at the bottom, you have your stylobate still. So you'll see that my architrave is about the same width as my stylobate. Okay. Then after you do that, you're going to create the tops of the columns called the capital. And so we're going to do the Doric style, which is just very basic. And so you're going to space your columns out. You can have, as many columns as you want. However many you think looks good. You can space them out as far as you want as well. But the one thing, try to get them kind of the same distance. If you can see on mine, I didn't quite succeed on that. But if you can get them kind of the same distance, and then try to make them the same width, because the Greek architects would have used mathematics, and they would have figured this out so that they looked exact. Ours won't look exact, but we'll do the best we can. So then the first step for the capital is underneath the architrave, you're going to draw rectangles with your rulers. Okay, so draw just thin rectangles for the top of your capitals. Okay, and again, use a ruler so that yours turns out neater than mine. And then underneath that, you're going to just make kind of a little curve on each side and close up the next level. They're going to kind of curve in though. Here. If you want, you can do it the other way, and you can do the curved part at the top and the straight rectangle at the bottom. Just kind of a basic top for our columns. Okay. Okay, for step 4, you're going to now add your columns in, and they're going to go in underneath the capital. And so what you want to do is use a ruler, and you have 2 options. You can draw the column straight, or you can draw them at a little bit of an angle so that the bottom is a little bit wider than the top. You don't want to get it very much wider. But the reason for that is because the Greeks actually built the columns a little thicker at the bottom so that from a distance they would look straight. It was an optical illusion. But if you want them to look straight and you just want to draw straight columns, that's fine too, which is what I did. So with your ruler, you are going to connect the capital to the stylobate with 2 lines, 1 line on each side. And again, you can see why it is a good idea to use a ruler, because I am not able to use one on this. So however many columns you have, go ahead and connect them so that your stylobate is connected to your columns and your columns are connected to your capital. Okay. Then with a ruler, you want to draw the vertical lines to give the appearance of the ridges in the columns. And you're going to want to make sure, try to get them evenly spaced, your lines inside the column. And I usually do 3 lines, but you can see it depends on how wide you do your columns, but you can erase and play with that and see what you like. Okay. So I do 2 or 3 lines, just depending. And I know I'm not doing this exact, but you get the idea. So you draw in your columns. Now the next 3 steps, steps 5, 6, and 7 are illustrated here already. And what I want to do is go ahead and show you, highlight kind of what we're doing here. So you've already done this, the stylobate down here, the columns, the capital here, and the architrave here. Now you're going to add this next, these next things. You're going to add the pediment and cornice, and then the frieze and the triglyphs. And it's really up to you. It might be easier to do the frieze first, but the reason that I said to do the pediment and cornice first, which the pediment is really the roof of the building, is because a lot of times people run out of room and then they cut off their roof, and you don't want to do that. So for the pediment, you're going to start at the top. You can even start at the very top if you'd like. Angle your ruler so that you get a nice angle, and you can leave a little bit of space for the frieze. You can see where my frieze is, which I haven't done yet, and pretend that my lines are very straight. This is my pediment, or my roof. Then with the ruler inside, you're going to just follow those same lines, make another layer, so that this area in here becomes your cornice. So the red area is the cornice, and I forgot to label that, so. Okay. Then underneath that, and I'm going to use a different color, okay, you're going to do the frieze. And the frieze is this level here, and it's already really drawn in because you drew your architrave, and now that you've drawn your pediment, it's already drawn. But what you want to do are the little columns inside. And again, try to space them evenly. Just do a couple of lines to start with for each of those designs. And these are actually called triglyphs, and I don't have that labeled on here, but in the green, those lines, those little sections are called triglyphs. And so you're going to go back and you're going to draw little lines. It's almost like mini columns, and you're going to draw those, and you can see where my pencil lines are. Okay, so draw those, and those are your triglyphs. And I didn't really label those either. Okay, so those are those green little things with the line. Okay, now the last 3 steps are really more design. So the step 8 is called metopes, and they are symbols or pictures that go between the triglyphs in the frieze. And I did a lightning bolt for Zeus, but you could do any symbol. I've seen people do waves and fish and suns and grapes, just anything that's related to ancient Greece you can do. But you're going to go ahead and draw those in. Now you could do different pictures if you wanted, but just for the sake of simplicity, I just did one symbol and repeated it, which you can do. Okay, so those are the metopes. All right, then in the pediment inside, you're going to do some kind of illustration. If you're a great artist and you want to draw a Greek god or goddess, you are certainly welcome to do that. I am not that great of an artist, so I am doing a symbol. So I decided to do a symbol for the sun god, and you can do whatever you like, but this is going to be, it could be a scene. It doesn't have to be just one picture. I've had the ancient Greeks lived along the sea, so I've had people draw mountains and seas and boats and all kinds of things. So just as long as it's related to Greece, you're in good shape. So when you finish, that's really it, and you should have a great picture. The only thing you need to do now is outline it and add some color to your metopes and to your pediment design. And then outline your building with black. And if you want to color it, you can. You don't have to. Some people think that the buildings were white, and then in other books you'll read that they may have actually had a lot of color on them, but that the color has just faded over the long period of time since they were built. So either way, however you like it best, and then you're going to take a picture of your final drawing, and you're going to share it on Seesaw with your homeroom teacher. So have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. Oh, I almost forgot. You can put a design in your cornice. And so on the cornice, I just did straight lines, but you could do triangles or zigzags or symbols or anything like that. But some kind of design in the cornice to give it some texture and depth. Okay? All right, good.